The Hatman is a jinn. From our experience and findings, readings and research, jinns come in many forms, and according to the Islamic Bible they are a superior form of being, and my thinking is that if they are made of smokeless fire, then it is understandable that they are black, as if they are a piece of paper burning. Think of what happens to a piece of paper when it gets burned. The genies are the closest thing we in Western civilization have to understand better what a jinn is. Another finding is that one can order or wish things, and jinns will realize them or make them come true if possible. They are black, or pitch black when you see one, and can transform into many things. But to possess a jinn is very difficult. If you study black magic or old magic, you will find out that maybe they were using jinns all along. They are a race not to be dealt with. However, many people say that it is possible to capture jinns in metal, like old mirrors or rings, and to safely possess them. I wish not to believe in the safe part. Not only that, there are some that say that the richest men on earth all have at least one jinn. Let's hear this woman's story of an encounter with the Hatman. By our experience, he can see you in physical and dream state. In this woman's experience, she believes he cannot see her in dream state, but he can. He doesn't do anything, probably because they never do. If you start reading about the Hatman now, you will see they are often seen, but it is rare to read about physical violence or anything of this type, although some occurrences exist. Once again, let's listen to this woman's curious story posted this year, 2016. I had one experience over 50 years ago as a child. It was an experience I've remembered all my life. I didn't know exactly how to explain it. I did think it was a unique thing and didn't expect anyone else had experienced such a thing. I still don't have an explanation, but have wondered about it for all these years. I was very surprised when I came across mention of Hatman online. It was really a stunning moment to learn other people saw a similar thing. I do have an advantage of having seen it long ago as a young child, so I am able to know I was aware of it before reading about it. It was a one-time experience I thought might have been a dream. I've read the discussions about it, and I'm still not able to explain it. I will include my story here in case it will help. My parents brought an antique floor mirror into my room and placed it in the middle of the room, saying it was temporary. That night I went to sleep. Either I dreamed this part or it was a noob, but I found myself in front of the mirror looking at it. I did not see myself in the mirror. I somehow realized I could go into the mirror. I thought I shouldn't, but I did. The next thing, I was inside the mirror. I freaked immediately at what I'd done, regretting it. Inside the mirror was light and shadow shapes or planes or fragments or whatever that seemed to partially reflect the wall of my room and so forth. The reflection of the wall was behind me when I was in the mirror. Somehow I knew not to walk around much because I thought I could get lost. I stayed right at the surface of the mirror, looking out from it. I realized as I looked out that I was lying in my bed. That is, I could see myself lying in my bed. I realized I was in the mirror but my body was on the bed, and that I needed to get out of the mirror. I worried I couldn't, but knew somehow that I must believe I could get out and not despair. I stayed relatively still but moved a bit as I could look around me but tried to stay close to surface of mirror. I was aware that behind me where it got darker and darker that would lead somewhere else, and the sense of it was that it would mean getting lost to go back there. Then as I was looking out at my bed, I saw a black figure with a hat on walk through the wall by my bed, coming from the outside of my room into my room. Outside my room, at the back of the house, was a hall. Across the hall was a bathroom and another bedroom at the front side of the house. The black figure stepped through the wall several feet from the floor, like about 3 or 4 feet above the bed. The right side of my bed was against the wall. He came out of the wall close to the foot of my bed. After he came through, he stopped for a second and looked at me in my bed. It looked like he just happened to notice me, and not as though he had expected to see anybody. He looked for only a second and then quickly moved straight into the mirror. I saw him pass through. The hat on his head was flat on too and had a pretty wide brim, although not as wide as his shoulders or anything. In my child's mind, I thought maybe it was a farmer hat. He looked like maybe a farmer to me. He was jet black with no discernible features. The shape of him suggested he was wearing just shirt and pants and hat. I didn't notice a cloak or anything. He was slim and tallish, though I didn't notice him being super tall. Although he came through the wall at a height, his height wasn't that tall. He seemed to move down as he crossed to the mirror. He looked straight forward as he passed through mirror and didn't see me at all. I stayed still hoping he would not see me. I felt he would be dangerous. However, his only interest seemed to be passing through the mirror. He moved fast and went back into the darkness. I felt he'd gone into the darkness but was afraid to turn around and look. But I could feel he'd gone and was traveling somewhere and was gone. The whole time while I was seeing the Hatman, I knew it was important to fear, and that it was very important to have faith if get out of the mirror instead. I knew it was important to have faith and not fear. I was brought up a Christian child and I believed God and knew about importance of faith. As I decided to put all my energy into being sure I'd get out of the mirror, I was all of a sudden awake in my bed. I was so relieved. I promised myself in that instance that if never go into a mirror again. I felt this was an important moment in my life to remember. My mother came in the next morning to ask me how I slept. I said I'd gotten stuck in the mirror, that a black man in a hat came through the wall and walked through the mirror, but that I knew not to be afraid but to believe I'd get out, and I did. She got up and went out to talk to my father. He came in and took out the mirror. He said I didn't have to worry about that mirror as it would never bother me again. He took it out of the house entirely. I asked him where he took it. He said back to the friends who he'd gotten it from, and he seemed mad at those people for what happened with the mirror. I still don't know what to make of this, or whether the mirror and Hatman Jinn experience was a dream, but I became aware that my parents knew there was something about that mirror, but that they weren't sure it was a problem until after what they heard me say what happened. They seemed to believe something real and bad had happened. There was no moment where they acted like it was imagination. No one said it was just a dream. Regarding the Hatman Jinn, my impression was that he was just traveling through, and his purpose was just to walk through the mirror. It seemed he just happened to notice me but had no interest in me. I felt he did not see me in the mirror and was not aware of me in the mirror. I did feel I should not let him feel me fearing, so perhaps he could have felt fear if I let it out. I felt containing my thoughts and emotions was important. So if this was not just a dream, or some dream state phenomenon, and if it really was a real event where a Hatman Jinn walked through a wall and through a mirror, then I would guess that the mirror was a doorway for him to somewhere, that either he had no interest in me or thought I was already dead, and that he was not aware of my presence in the mirror. I also think that if I hadn't got out of the mirror, I might very well have died. My knowledge or awareness while in that state was very acute and I believe inspired to know what to do and not do. I also learned that when my instincts say don't do something, go in the mirror, that I should not do it no matter how curious I am.